Good morning. With the ringing of our peace bowl, we affirm the collective hope for peace in the world, and in Gaza, we pray the ceasefire will hold. We acknowledge that these lands that we all love are the ancestral lands of the Yavapai people. Enjoy the gathering music, Turns the World Around, sung by the Granite Peak Singers. That's a rousing start to the day. Good morning again. Okay. And welcome to Granite Peak Unitarian Universalist Congregation in Prescott, Arizona. I'm Fred Krapps, your worship associate today. We extend a warm welcome to all. This is the mission statement for our congregation. We are a compassionate, spiritual community that celebrates diversity, nurtures the spiritual growth of all ages, shares our gifts, promotes justice for all, and serves the world we live in. If you join us for the first time, please check us out on our website at prescottuu.org for more information on us. If you're here for the first time in person, would you care to stand and introduce yourselves to us? Reverend Fritts will be out. There we go.
If you're willing to stand, and there's one person, I want to give you a gift from the church. This is a wonderful pin that we prepared with the church's name on it. Where are you from? Well, welcome to the church then. All right. Thank you. And your name? Susan, welcome to the church. Good to have you here. You'll find this is a really nice group of people. Other visitors, anybody else? You don't have to stand up and identify yourself, but you don't get a pin. You don't. Anyone else? Well, welcome, Susan, and welcome to everyone to the church today.
And I'm sure those pens will become a collector's item. We want to thank Karen Denny, our choir director, and our pianist, Lena Huben, and Martin, our tech guru back in the corner, and our house manager for today is Tracy Powers. And also want to thank all the greeters and ushers and Chris Hawthorne and the hospitality crew. We could not do it without you guys. Sandra Palacios, our faith development coordinator, is teaching ages 5 and older across the street at the Faith Development Building. Today, they're learning about the Chinese New Year. And it's going to be complete with fried rice and longevity noodles, and they're going to learn how to use chopsticks. I asked her whether it was sticky rice, and of course it couldn't be if it's fried rice, so it'll be interesting. But she said she's going to wrap them so they're a little bit larger than normal. so I guess maybe 5 or 6 grains at a time. Okay, would you take a moment to silence your phone so they do not embarrass you during the service? I've got a brief announcement from Bev Bostrom, which will be followed by a congressional moment video. Bev is going. What did I say? Oh, hey, I've got false teeth. So Bev is going to be stationed in Davis Hall, or at the entrance to Davis Hall, with these cards. So today is the day if you would like to have your picture taken. Today is the day to do that. So pick up a card and fill it out, and with it you also get this red thing with a number on it. So when they call your number, be prepared to go out to get your picture taken. So we all clear on that one? Okay. So anytime with the congregational video, please.
Good morning. I'm Sandra Palacios, Granite Peak Coordinator of Children Faith Development. This is Susan Prado, my devoted helper every Sunday morning.
We are also assisted by Ainsley O'Donnell and Audrey Jarnigan.
We enjoy our Sunday class with the children very much, and they seem ready to join the class activities when they arrive. Each week we devote our class hour together to learn more about different cultures, faith, and people. Most lessons include creative art, food, and discussion about diverse people and the population they represent. Sometimes we bring our food to the adult in Davis Hall. We break bread together on our happy coffee hour. Our kids enjoy serving our members and breaking bread together. And this is what we do on a Sunday basis. One time we did the Diwali. We talked about Diwali, the Hindu faith. We made dayas. And for snack we had pistachios, mangoes, almonds, and chocolate. Another time we learned about the veterans, and the kids did their handprint. And they all wanted to write something to them. And basically they also had a discussion on how some of their relatives serve our country. Another time we did autumn. Autumn is a time for letting go and releasing things that have been a burden. We talked about letting go anger, letting go bitterness, letting go how they feel upset and how the leaves fall in a natural way and how we basically letting go. And another time we talked about the Bodhi tree in Buddhism. And children pick phrases that coordinated with their Bodhi tree. Some say the state of having knowledge and understanding. We talk about understanding, what we understand in life. May all beings have a happy mind, enlightenment, what we think we can become. The children really enjoyed this, and we had sticky rice and figs, fig Newton and fig jams. Another time we basically did an altar, and we did calaveras, skulls. We did skulls to put it in the altar. Last week we did Martin Luther King, and we did a collage, and we talked about a dream, what they want to dream about, how their dream wants to become reality. Either with a student wrote about macaroni. They want a dream to become macaroni. And bless them, one said, help people like Paw Patrol. I wish we would all be Paw Patrols. And this was by Clara. Thank you for your financial support, all the members. We appreciate every dime, penny, dollar, peso, everything. But thank you. With great gratitude, I appreciate all the support you give to Faith Development. Gracias por la comunidad, la fe, y de todo mi corazón.
Thank you.
Sandra does a wonderful job with the kids over there. She's increased the number of young people that we have coming there. So anytime you see her, thank her, please.
A quick announcement with the Martin Luther King. We're having a march tomorrow at Custer Park, starting at 10 o'clock. I hope you all can come.
Thank you. Did everybody hear that? Okay.
I think that she said that she's out.
She was talking about the Martin Luther King March tomorrow, starting at 10 o'clock, did you say? At Prescott College, right? She just wanted to remind everybody about that. We begin our service in the Unitarian Universalist tradition of lighting the chalice. Our chalice lighter this morning is Suki Jones. A little incest here. Our chalice reading today is from the Dalai Lama. There is a saying in Tibetan, tragedy should be utilized as a source of strength. No matter what sort of difficulties, how painful it is, if we lose our hope, that is our real disaster.
I'm recovering from a cold, and so that I don't give it to all of you, I'm going to wear the mask when I'm not speaking. There is so much of which we are often afraid. Loneliness, loss of friendships, poverty, the poor judgment of others. Spirit of life, grant, may we find within ourselves the courage to face our fear, to accept our fear, to mold it into strength so that we see the beauty and the promise of each new day. I invite you to stand as you're able to do so and join in singing hymn number 1, May Nothing Evil Cross This Door. I invite you to join with me in saying our covenant. Love is the doctrine of this congregation, the quest for truth its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve others in community. Thus do we covenant together.
The offertory is a spiritual practice, a collective affirmation of our shared values and commitment to the mission of this liberal religious congregation. We also give back in the greater community through our Seeds of Support program. This month's recipient is Prism Network. Read about them in your order of service. To give online, the link is available in the chat, or you can go to our website. Enjoy the offertory music, Lament by Gilbert Allen. We acknowledge the generosity of spirit expressed through this offering. What is given in love is received in gratitude. Blessed be. During the next few moments, we remember our joys and sorrows and recognize that ours is a welcoming community where we find connection, a spiritual community where we find meaning. Ours is a sharing community where our joys are amplified, a caring community where our sorrows are lessened. We take this moment to reflect on our joys and sorrows and acknowledge the mutual support of our community. I invite you to come forward silently and drop a pebble from the dish into our communal waters as an affirmation of our connection to one and another. I will place the first stone for all who are suffering due to the wildfires in the Los Angeles area. Please join me in singing these comforting words, Spirit of Life.
This is a spoken meditation. And then when I'm done, can we have about 10 or 15 seconds before we begin the music just of silence? Let us be quiet, without and within. Let the stillness be in us. Let the silence hold you. Find the deep places of the soul. Begin to let go of distractions that plague you. The peace for which you are searching is tangible. Reach out for that peace. Find your center. Listen for yourself. Relax. Be at ease. Nothing can disturb your peace. Let go of irritation. Let go of anger toward one you might love. Calm the confusion. Let go of fear. The quiet is within us. The stillness is in us. The silence will hold you. There are deep, joyful places in the soul. Reach out for that peace. Let's be together for just a moment of silence. Amen. Thank you. It was lovely. Thank you, Karen. Keep calm and carry on. Looking at the news, it can be hard to keep calm. 4 years ago, I thought many of our fellow citizens saw the problems with President Trump's leadership and voted for a more rational, more democratic leader. However, for a second time, many trusting Americans have been taken in by this real estate developer, a skillful, effective salesman. And now he makes bizarre statements. Will he really invade Panama and Greenland? I find it frightening to imagine what the next 4 years will be like. The Keep Calm and Carry On poster was produced by the British government in 1939 in preparation for World War II. The poster was intended to raise morale, given the threat of mass air attacks on major cities. However, the working class British public regarded Keep Calm and Carry On as the upper classes treating the working classes like children. Although over 2 million copies were printed, the poster was only rarely displayed. It was forgotten until the year 2000, when one was discovered by a bookseller. The poster was folded up at the bottom of a box of books the bookseller had bought at an auction. He took the original and had it framed in his store, and then when his wife said, "No one will buy this," but while she was out of town, he had 500 printed, which did sell. And then after a 2005 story in the Guardian newspaper, sales really took off. The bookstore owner was asked, "Why is it so popular? Keep calm and carry on." He said, "I always say the same thing. It's cheaper than antidepressants." It speaks to unhappiness and depression with a message of stoicism and patience, which is more helpful than becoming panicked. The message about public-spirited hardiness in the face of adversity has been used in many parodies, such as "Keep Calm and Eat Cake," or "Keep Caffeinated and Carry On." Despite the parodies, the original message is important. We are more likely to survive if we remain calm in a difficult situation. The Buddhist Thich Nhat Hanh said, "If we are in a boat with others in a storm and all of us panic, the chances of our survival decrease. But," he said, "if even one person aboard can remain calm, lucid, knowing what to do and what not to do, she or he can help the boat survive." His or her expression, face, voice, communicates clarity and calmness, and people have trust in that person. They will listen to what he or she says. One such person can save the lives of many. Well, given the situation we find ourselves in, with an unstable man becoming president tomorrow, how do we keep calm? How do we cope with our fears? Well, smoking and drinking is one way people cope with fear. In 1989, I visited the San Francisco Bay Area 2 weeks after an earthquake, which was responsible for 63 deaths and nearly 4,000 injuries. This was the earthquake that occurred at the beginning of one of the World Series games. I asked a friend, minister of the Oakland church, I asked him what he did after the ground had stopped shaking. And my friend Robbie said, I went out and I bought a pack of cigarettes. He had not smoked in years. And again, in the 2 months after September 11th, 2001, the sale of alcoholic beverages and the sale of cigarettes rose dramatically around the United States. Well, I'm not a fan of alcoholic beverages or cigarettes as a solution to fear. I never smoke, and when I'm feeling anxious, I cut back on my drinking of alcohol. I want to face whatever is about to come. I want to face it sober. Another solution is medication. After the attacks in September of 2001, requests for anti-anxiety drugs were up by 22% in New York City. After the election 8 years ago in November of 2016, doctors got calls from patients asking for medications used to treat anxiety and panic. Now, I do believe that careful use of these anti-anxiety drugs can help us cope with our fear. If they are taken under a doctor's supervision, they may be a useful, legitimate response to our anxiety. Another way to keep calm is to remember the past. Those of us who are here this morning, we survived the 4-year presidency from 2017 to 2021. Although back then statements from the president were often strange and troubling, I was able to live my life independent of much that was happening in our national government. I remember having many enjoyable experiences with my family and my friends during the time that he served as president. Having survived for 4 years, I have hope that all of us can survive the next 4 years. This does not mean that I disengage from the world. All my adult life, I have written thoughtful, polite letters to my members of Congress and to the President on issues that concern me. I feel better inside, calmer inside, after I have written such a letter. In the next 4 years, I will continue to write, trying to express my views as clearly and as concisely as I can. I send postal letters rather than just emails because a lobbyist for the National Rifle Association once told the NRA members that you never trip over a bag of email, but postal letters have an impact visually. I know from talking with persons who have worked on a congressional staff that letters are counted. The totals for and against issues are reported to our elected officials. Letters from constituents are one factor that goes into making policy. For example, remember the separation of children from their parents at the border back in June of 2018. Congressional offices received thousands of letters, emails, and phone calls from people protesting this action, and it was stopped. So we can make a difference. I feel calmer when I've done my part, my small part, to contribute to these policy debates. Also, when I am feeling anxious and fearful, I try to simplify my life. I turn off the television, turn off the internet, and limit my reading of newspapers and magazines. I do not want to know what is going. I do want to know what's going on in the world, but I can find myself getting addicted to the adrenaline high that comes with the latest so-called breaking news. So to lower my anxiety, to keep calm, I find it helps me to limit my consumption of news. According to the book of Exodus, the Sabbath is a day of rest, a rest on the seventh day. It is commanded by God to be kept as a holy day of rest, just as God rested from creation. The practice of observing the Sabbath originates in the biblical commandment, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Some Jews, conservative Jews, close their stores and their restaurants on Saturday, from Friday night when the sun sets until Saturday when the sun sets. Some Christians close their stores and restaurants on Sunday, a spiritual discipline that says some things are more important than making money. As a Sabbath observant, as a way of spiritual renewal, I invite you to consider spending one day a week without your phone on or without your computer on or your TV or your radio. Take a break from these electronic devices. Have a Sabbath day. After I've turned off the news and written my letters, I go outside to calm my soul. The feel of the air against my skin, the warmth of the sun on my face, the smell of the trees, the color of the blue sky, the movement of the birds, all of it reminds me that there is still so much beauty in the world, particularly in Prescott. Research has shown a strong connection between time spent in nature and reduced stress, anxiety, and depression. When we are depressed or under high levels of stress, we tend to experience a loop, a continuous loop of negative thoughts. Well, what if this happens? What if that happens? What about that? What about this? Walking in nature can stop that continuous loop of worry. Calming nature sounds. Look at this tree. Look at those birds. Look at the clouds. Look at those granite mountains. And the silence in Prescott. It can lower blood pressure and lower levels of stress hormones. Having something pleasant to focus on, like the trees, the sky, the cool air, the bird sounds, helps distract our minds from negative thinking, so our thoughts become less filled with worry. When I go back home after a walk, instead of turning on the TV or the radio or the internet news, I find it helpful to turn to poetry and other writing. I find this calming. Actually, I love the readings in our gray hymnal, and if you promise to bring it back, I give you permission to take it home and turn to it when you're anxious, because there are so many beautiful readings there. But bring it back, please. I absorb the words into my being and feel myself respond to them. And music. Music helps me keep calm. The sounds of the piano, the sounds of the choir here on Sunday morning, the experience of singing hymns together with all of you. This all calms my fears. And when live music is not available, I find my anxiety comforted by recorded music. Expressing thanks helps keep me calm. Our fears and anxieties can cause us to forget the many reasons we have to be thankful. We forget to be thankful. Our worries can cause us to lose a feeling of awe and appreciation for the blessings of life. So I try to remember to be grateful, to say thank you. Thank you to the law enforcement officers, to the emergency workers, to the hospital workers, to the firefighters, and others. Gratitude is a warm appreciation for the kindness I receive from others and for the work of those who try to keep us safe. Others have described to me spiritual practices that they have found have helped them. People have told me how meditation, drawing, painting, sculpturing, prayer, yoga, tai chi, exercise, gardening, memorizing poems, quilting, journal keeping, cooking, all have helped them calm down and help them cut through the daily fears. If you do not have a regular practice that reassures and steadies your spirit, I invite you to consider starting one. And keep it simple. Do not become competitive. The goal is not to win a contest, but to maintain a peace of mind. Faced with anxiety and fear, we turn to our religious community. Worship can help us keep calm. In weekly worship, we can be comforted by familiar rituals, the opening words, the hymn, the greeting of visitors, the music, the singing of Spirit of Life, the sermon, the closing words. In worship, we express and testify to our beliefs. We affirm the worth and dignity of every person and our respect for the interdependent web of existence of which we are all a part. These principles guide us and help us to keep calm. In the congregation, we find friends. In the religious community, we seek each other's presence as a source of comfort, for it is here in this church that we feel people know us and we know them. You've been together as a church community through crises and tragedies. Our gathering reminds us that we are significant, that others are thankful that we are alive, and that in dealing with difficulties, we are not alone. So how do I remain calm? I never smoke, and I limit my consumption of alcohol and caffeine. I may be tempted to turn to both of them, but coffee makes me nervous, and alcohol gives me a headache. I limit how much news I listen to or watch. I do not need to hear minute-by-minute accounts of the latest events. I do what I can to make a more just, safe world. My power is limited, but still I do what I can. I write letters, I donate money, and occasionally I attend public demonstrations, like the one tomorrow morning at Prescott College at 10 o'clock. I do what I can to be in the presence of nature. I love the clouds, the feeling of the sunlight against my skin, and the smell of the air, especially after a rainstorm. I keep waiting for a rainstorm. I do what I can to be in the presence of beauty. I enjoy the music of the choir and the piano, and as a lover of the written word, I continue to read poetry, fiction, and nonfiction. I offer my thanks and gratitude to our community leaders. They are, in their own way, trying to keep us safe, and I am grateful for their work. I keep up my interactions with my family and my friends. Now, sometimes contact with friends and family can be stressful, but most of the time, with family and friends, being together relaxes me, reassures me, and helps me feel calm. And most important, I stay connected to my religious community. Now we have a challenge before us and an opportunity. Part of me wishes that I was turning 26 tomorrow instead of 74. Liberal religion is at its best and its strongest in times of national peril and crises. It was the Universalists who opposed slavery in the 19th century and helped working with the Quakers to set up the Underground Railroad. It was the Unitarians who helped refugees escape from Europe in the 1940s. The Lisbon Connection. They allowed people to go from Prague through France, through Spain, and then to Lisbon, and transported them to the United States, refugees from the Nazis. And out of that came our flaming chalice, by the way. This was originally the symbol of the Service Committee of the Unitarian Association in Lisbon to represent us helping refugees in 1940. I think of the Unitarians and the Universalists who marched and died in Selma in 1965, which resulted ultimately in the Voting Rights Act, which transformed our American culture so that we were able to elect an African-American man president of the United States not long ago. I think of the Unitarian Universalist Association who agreed through Beacon Press in 1971 to publish all of the Pentagon Papers, all 5 volumes, the library edition, in spite of the fact that President Nixon had the FBI try to seize all the financial records of the association to see who was contributing to the UUA so that they would know who their enemies were. They went ahead and published, the association published the Pentagon Papers. I think of clergy who first officiated at same-sex weddings. We don't know when the first one took place because it was illegal, but it was probably in the 1950s with Harry Schofield in San Francisco. We'll never know for sure. But that resulted ultimately in the legalization of same-sex marriage. We were the first. This is who we are. So I charge each of us to keep the principles of our faith and our traditions before us. Every Sunday morning, every week, for the next 4 years, I invite you to meet here, to support each other in a beloved community. And if we keep calm, and if we carry on, now in this time, we will make a difference. Let's sing hymn number 145, As Tranquil Streams.
Thank you.
which overcomes all differences, which heals all wounds, which puts to flight all fears, which reconciles all who are separated. May that love be in us and among us now and always. As we extinguish the chalice, let's say these words together. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And I will not be shaking your hands or hugging you after the service, but you're happy to say hello to me.